Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered what makes a man truly captivated by a woman? What keeps him coming back, craving your presence, your words, your energy? It's not just about looks or status, it's about how you make him feel when he's around you. The secret isn't manipulation. It's not about playing hard to get or following some outdated dating rules. It's about mastering the art of communication, talking to him in a way that makes him feel deeply connected, valued, and drawn to you. Now, if there's one thing that can instantly shift the dynamic between you and a man, it's this: making him feel like a hero. Not in the superficial sense, not in a way that strokes his ego just for the sake of it, but in a way that speaks to something deeply rooted in his psychology, his very nature. Men at their core are wired to protect, to provide, to feel needed. It's not just biology, it's an instinct. When a man senses that he is valued, that his presence makes a difference in your life, something shifts in him. He steps up, he leans in, he becomes more invested. But when he feels insignificant, replaceable, or unappreciated, he pulls away, often without even realizing why. So how do you communicate in a way that triggers this instinct in a natural, effortless way? It starts with the little things. Let's say he fixes something for you. Maybe he lifts something heavy, solves a problem, or even just gives you advice that helps you out. Instead of a simple thanks, imagine looking at him with a warm smile and saying, "Wow, I love how you always know what to do. You make things so much easier." What happens in that moment? He feels seen. He feels strong. He feels capable. And that feeling, he's going to associate it with you. And this is the part most people miss. It's not about inflating his ego or pretending to be helpless. It's about allowing him to step into his masculine energy in a way that makes him feel purposeful. Because when a man feels like he has a role in your life, when he feels that his presence enhances your world, he won't want to leave. Let's go deeper. Think about how the world treats men today. They are constantly being told to be tough, to figure things out, to not show weakness. And in that pressure, they often feel unseen, like their efforts go unnoticed. But when you acknowledge even the smallest things, when you tell him, "I love how safe I feel around you," or "You have such a strong presence," it's so reassuring. You give him something rare. You give him a sense of significance. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When you make a man feel like a hero, it doesn't just change the way he sees himself, it changes the way he sees you. He starts to associate you with that feeling of being his best self. And that's addictive. It's something he won't find just anywhere. But here's the mistake many women make. They think they have to shrink themselves to make a man feel strong. That's not the point at all. A powerful, confident woman who can hold her own but still make space for a man to step up, that's irresistible. It's the balance between strength and softness, independence and appreciation. It's about knowing that you could do it all on your own, but you don't have to, because you allow him to add value to your life. Think about this. Have you ever seen a man light up when he's given the chance to help, protect, or support someone he cares about? Have you noticed the pride in his stance, the certainty in his presence? That's because men don't just want to be wanted, they want to be needed in a way that makes them feel essential. And when you tap into that, he won't just enjoy being around you, he'll crave it. So the next time you're with him, whether it's a casual conversation or a deeper moment, take a second and ask yourself, how can I make him feel like the man he wants to be? Maybe it's through your words. Maybe it's through the way you look at him. Maybe it's simply through the way you receive what he gives. Because when a man feels like a hero in your presence, he won't just like you. He'll be drawn to you in a way he can't explain. There's something fascinating about the way we connect with people. It's not just about words, it's about energy, rhythm, and the emotions we stir in someone. And when it comes to keeping a man captivated, the way you make him feel in your presence is everything. If he associates you with fun, lightness, and excitement, he won't just enjoy being around you, he'll crave it. That's where playfulness comes in. Most people underestimate the power of playfulness in attraction. They think deep conversations, vulnerability, and serious talks are what create a strong bond. And yes, those things are important. But do you know what makes a man addicted to you? It's how much fun he has when he's with you. It's the way you pull him out of his head and into the moment. It's the spark, the teasing, the laughter that makes him feel alive. See, men spend a lot of time in their logical, structured, problem-solving minds. They deal with pressure, responsibilities, and the weight of expectations. But when he's with a woman who knows how to break that tension, who brings out his playful side, he starts associating her with relief, with joy, with ease. And that feeling, it's magnetic. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who made you laugh so much that time seemed to disappear? Someone who had a way of making the ordinary feel exciting. That's the energy that makes people irresistible. And when you bring that energy into your interactions with a man, he won't be able to get enough of you. The key is to keep things light. When you first meet a man, resist the urge to jump into serious conversations too quickly. Instead, play with him, tease him. If he tells you he's good at something, raise an eyebrow and say, "Oh, really? I'll believe it when I see it." If he's telling a story, lean in with a smirk and say, "Wait, this isn't one of those stories where you make yourself the hero, is it?" A little challenge, a little playful skepticism, it keeps him engaged. It makes him want to prove himself to you, to keep the conversation going, to win you over. And here's the thing, men love the chase, but not in the way most people think. It's not about making him work for your attention in a cold or distant way. It's about making the process fun. It's about keeping the energy dynamic, unpredictable, exciting. When he never quite knows what you're going to say next, when he feels like he has to be on his toes just a little bit, he stays engaged. He stays interested. But playfulness isn't just about teasing, it's also about how you respond to his energy. When he jokes, lean into it. When he's being a little ridiculous, don't shut it down, amplify it. If he says, "I think I'd make an amazing secret agent," don't roll your eyes and dismiss it. Instead, smirk and say, "Oh yeah? You don't exactly have a great poker face though. I don't think you'd last 5 minutes undercover." That kind of exchange, it's electric. It creates chemistry. It makes you memorable. But the real magic happens when playfulness meets warmth. Because it's not just about jokes, it's about making him feel good. It's about creating a space where he can relax, where he doesn't have to be perfect, where he feels free to be fully himself. When a man is with a woman who brings out his most fun, playful, confident self, he'll seek her out again and again, not because he has to, but because he wants to. And that's the key. You don't need to convince a man to want you. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to create an energy that he doesn't want to leave. That's the difference. That's what makes him addicted. Not a game, not a strategy, just the way he feels when he's around you. There's something powerful about the unknown, something intriguing about mystery. As human beings, we're wired to crave what we don't fully understand, to chase what isn't completely within our grasp. And when it comes to attraction, nothing draws a man in more than a sense of curiosity. when he feels like there's always more to discover about you, when he senses there's depth beyond what you reveal at any given moment. That's the kind of presence that makes you unforgettable. Most people approach relationships with full transparency right from the start. They spill every detail about their past, their thoughts, their emotions, believing that complete openness will create closeness. And while vulnerability is important, there's a fine line between sharing and oversharing. The truth is, attraction thrives in the space of anticipation. It grows in the moments where a man is left wondering, where he feels a pull to get closer, to figure you out. Think about the last time you were captivated by someone. Was it because they told you everything all at once? Or was it because they gave you just enough to keep you wanting more? That's the power of intrigue. It's not about playing games or being distant. It's about revealing yourself in layers, about knowing that the most powerful connections are built over time, not in an instant. When you're talking to a man, resist the urge to always give full answers. If he asks how your weekend was, don't just say, "It was great, I went to this amazing place." Instead, smile and say, "It was unforgettable, I'll tell you about it sometime." Watch his reaction. Suddenly he's leaning in. His curiosity is sparked. He wants to know more. And now he's thinking about you beyond the conversation. That's how you create a lasting impression, not by giving it all away, but by allowing him to wonder. But mystery isn't just about what you say, it's also about your energy. When you walk into a room with a quiet confidence, when you don't rush to fill silences, when you hold yourself with a sense of self-assuredness, people notice. There's something magnetic about someone who isn't trying too hard to be seen, but is simply being. It makes others want to come closer, to figure out what's beneath the surface. And here's where it gets even more interesting. When a man senses that there are parts of you he hasn't uncovered yet, it triggers something in him. It makes him want to invest more time, more effort, more of himself to unlock those layers. And when someone invests in you, whether emotionally, mentally, or physically, they become more attached. They don't want to walk away from something they've put effort into understanding. Now, there's a difference between being mysterious and being cold. Mystery doesn't mean being distant or withholding affection. It means knowing when to let someone in, when to reveal more, and when to leave just enough unsaid to keep the connection growing. It's about understanding that relationships are a journey, not a destination, and that attraction lives in the space between what's known and what's yet to be discovered. And when you embody this, he won't just like you. He'll think about you when you're not around. He'll wonder what you're doing, who you're with, what's on your mind, because you've left an impression. You've sparked something in him that he can't quite put his finger on, and that's what makes someone unforgettable. So the next time you speak to him, remember, the way you talk to him has the power to make him think about you, miss you, and crave your presence long after the conversation ends. Words are not just sounds we make, they are energy, they carry weight, they have the power to shape emotions, shift perspectives, and create deep connections. And when it comes to speaking to a man in a way that draws him in, the secret isn't just in what you say, it's in how you make him feel when he hears it. Because at the end of the day, people don't remember conversations word for word, but they do remember the emotions tied to them. They remember how they felt in your presence. They remember the way your words resonated in a way that no one else's did. Most people speak on autopilot. They communicate out of habit, using the same phrases, the same casual responses, without truly thinking about the impact of their words. But when you begin to speak with intention, when you infuse your words with meaning, emotion, and energy, something shifts. The conversation no longer feels like small talk. It becomes an experience. And that's what creates an emotional imprint, something that lingers in a person's mind long after the interaction is over. Imagine telling a man, I like spending time with you. It's a nice statement, right? But now imagine looking him in the eyes, letting a moment of silence settle between you and saying, being with you makes me feel so safe. It's like I can finally breathe. Feel the difference? One is a statement, the other is an experience. One is something he hears, the other is something he feels. And when you make someone feel something deeply, they don't just hear your words, they absorb them, they carry them with them. This is why emotionally charged words are so powerful, because emotions are what drive people. They are what make a man feel a connection beyond just the surface level. When you tell him, you make me feel like the most cared for woman in the world, that's not just a compliment. That's a moment he'll replay in his mind. It's something he'll attach meaning to. And when a man starts associating his presence with making you feel incredible, he'll want to keep doing it. He'll crave the connection that your words bring. And it's not just about compliments. It's about the way you frame your words in everyday conversations. Instead of saying, I had a good time tonight, try, tonight was exactly what I needed. You have a way of making things feel so effortless. Instead of saying, that was funny, try, I love how you make me laugh in a way no one else does. See how that subtle shift changes the entire dynamic. It moves the conversation from ordinary to unforgettable. It creates depth. It makes them feel special. And people are drawn to the people who make them feel special. Now, this doesn't mean you have to force emotion into every sentence. It simply means becoming aware of how your words shape experiences. It means slowing down, speaking with intention, and truly expressing what you feel, rather than just what's convenient to say in the moment. Because a simple shift in the way you speak can change the way someone sees you. It can take an interaction from casual to magnetic. And here's the most powerful part. When you start speaking this way, when you start communicating with this level of depth and presence, you'll notice something interesting. People won't just listen to your words, they'll feel them. They'll be drawn in without even knowing why, because deep down, everyone is searching for that kind of connection, that kind of energy, that feeling of being seen, heard, and understood on a level that goes beyond the surface. And when a man finds that in you, he won't just enjoy talking to you, he'll need it. He'll crave the way your words make him feel, because the way you speak will remind him of something rare, something he doesn't get just anywhere. And that's what makes you unforgettable. So the next time you speak to him, remember, the way you talk to him has the power to make him think about you, miss you, and crave your presence long after the conversation ends. There is something magnetic about a woman who knows her worth, a woman who carries herself with a quiet, unshakable confidence. She doesn't beg for attention, she doesn't chase, and she doesn't try to prove her value, because she already knows it. And that energy, that's what pulls a man in. That's what makes him not just interested, but invested. Because when a woman operates from a place of self-assurance, she shifts the entire dynamic of the connection. Most people believe that attraction is about doing more, giving more, saying more, being more available. But the truth is, the most powerful thing you can do is simply be the kind of woman a man wants to rise up for, the kind of woman whose presence naturally demands respect without her ever having to ask for it. Because the moment you realize that you don't need to convince anyone to see your value, you become the kind of person that people don't want to lose. A man can feel when a woman is centered in herself, when she's not looking for validation outside of her, but instead radiates it from within. It's in the way she moves, the way she speaks, the way she responds instead of reacts. When she's secure in herself, She doesn't get caught up in chasing a man's attention because she knows that she is the prize. She knows that the right man will recognize her worth without her needing to prove it. And that understanding, that's what makes her irresistible. When you embody this, something shifts in the way a man interacts with you. He starts to earn your time instead of just expecting it. He starts to put in effort not because he has to, but because he wants to. He senses that you are not someone who will tolerate anything less than what you deserve. And that makes him respect you on a whole different level. But confidence isn't just about what you say, it's about what you allow. It's about knowing when to walk away from situations that don't align with your worth. It's about holding yourself to a standard, not out of pride or ego, but out of a deep, unwavering sense of self-respect. Because when a man sees that you are a woman who won't settle, it forces him to step up. It makes him want to meet you at your level. And the men who don't step up, they naturally fall away, making space for the ones who will. And this is where so many people get it wrong. They think that by giving more time, more energy, more emotional labor, they will make someone see their value. But it's the opposite. It's in your ability to hold your space that a man recognizes your worth. It's in the moments when you don't overextend, when you don't try to prove yourself, that he realizes you are someone different, someone he doesn't want to lose. But here's the key. It has to be real. It can't be an act, something you pretend to embody just to get a reaction. True confidence comes from within, from knowing deep down that whether a man stays or goes, you will be just fine. That no one else determines your happiness, your peace, or your sense of fulfillment. And when you truly believe that, the energy you radiate becomes undeniable. A man doesn't fall in love with a woman because she needs him. He falls in love because she is whole within herself and still chooses to let him in. And that choice, that's what makes him value her. That's what makes him want to hold on to her, because he knows that she doesn't give her energy away easily, that her presence is something to be earned. And when you live this way, not from a place of scarcity, but from a place of deep knowing, everything changes. The right people gravitate toward you, the wrong ones fall away. And the man who is meant for you, he won't just like you. He won't just want you. He'll cherish you. Because he'll know that a woman like you isn't found every day. So the next time you speak to him, remember, the way you talk to him has the power to make him think about you, miss you, and crave your presence long after the conversation ends. There is something powerful about a woman who understands the art of emotional connection, a woman who knows that real intimacy isn't just about words, it's about presence. It's about how she listens, how she sees a man in ways that no one else does. And when a man feels truly seen by a woman, when he feels understood on a level that goes beyond the surface, that's when something shifts inside him. That's when she stops being just someone he enjoys spending time with and becomes someone he needs in his life. Most people engage in conversations to respond, not to connect. They listen just long enough to wait for their turn to speak. But when you truly listen to a man, not just to his words, but to what's beneath them, you create something rare. You create a space where he can let his guard down, where he can be himself without judgment. And that is what makes a man crave you in a way that goes beyond physical attraction. Because at the core of every person, beneath all the layers of strength, confidence, and charm, is a desire to be understood. When a man speaks, listen with your full presence. not just with your ears, but with your eyes, your energy, your entire being. When he shares something, don't just nod along or give a generic response. Reflect something deeper back to him. If he tells you about a challenge he's facing, don't just say, "That sounds tough." Instead, lean in, hold his gaze, and say, "I can see how much this means to you." That must feel like a lot to carry. Feel the difference? One is acknowledgement, the other is understanding. And when a man feels understood, he feels safe. But connection isn't just about listening, it's about creating moments that feel different from everything else in his life. Because a man might be surrounded by people all day, but how many of them truly see him? How many of them make him pause, make him think, make him feel something deeper? When you bring that energy into a conversation, when you create an experience that lingers in his mind long after he's left, that's when he starts to crave more of you. This isn't about agreeing with everything he says or making him feel comfortable all the time. It's about challenging him in a way that excites him, that makes him feel alive. When he shares a dream, don't just say, "That's amazing." Push him. Ask, "What's stopping you?" When he tells you about something he's passionate about, let him see that you're genuinely curious, that you're engaged, because a man doesn't just want someone who listens, he wants someone who sees him in a way that others don't. And this is where emotional depth comes in, because while physical attraction might pull someone in, it's emotional depth that makes them stay. A man might be drawn to a woman's beauty, but it's her mind, her energy, the way she makes him feel that makes him addicted. And when he starts to associate your presence with emotional connection, with the feeling of being understood, he won't want to let it go. But here's the most important part. You don't do this to get a man. You do this because it's who you are, because you value deep connection, because you don't settle for surface level interactions. And when you embody this naturally, without expectation, the right person feels it. He senses that you are different, that you are someone he doesn't just want in his life, you're someone he needs. And when a man feels that kind of connection, he doesn't take it for granted. He doesn't look for distractions. He doesn't walk away easily, because he knows that what he has with you is rare, and rare things are not easily replaced. So the next time you speak to him, remember, the way you talk to him has the power to make him think about you, miss you, and crave your presence long after the conversation ends.